Good morning, good morning. This is Sarah Louise Fox, Freemind hypnotherapist, helping you to get unstuck and overcome overwhelm so you can start loving life again. And this morning I'm filming on one of my morning walks. Now, this is one of my acts of self-love, and this month we have been talking about love, being February, the month of love, but mainly focusing more on showing love for yourself because that makes it a hell of a lot easier to love other people. And my morning walk is one of my acts of self-love. But for a long time, I was making it a lot bigger than it needed to be, which meant that it didn't happen very often. By some miracle, when I first moved out to Westcliff-on-sea, moving from London, the big smoke, to the seaside, I, by some miracle, had months where on most days I managed to make it out for a 1 hour walk on the seafront. Now I don't know how I made time for it. And when life happened and I got busy and that whole hour didn't seem possible or realistic, I just stopped. Even though I know that going for a walk really made a difference to how I felt, how the rest of my day went. And I realize now that the problem was that I made it way too big. Like a whole hour when you're really busy feels overwhelming. It's like another thing on your to-do list. But if you can just pare it down, so now my walk is generally about half an hour, but if all I can spare is 10 minutes, I still make that 10 minutes happen. I just come and walk down to this point, which is next to the Cliffs Pavilion, which is behind me, and just take a few moments to look out to the sea. And that's 10 minutes. I've got outside, I've got some sea air, I've seen the sea, which I always find calming and relaxing, and then I can walk back home. But on average now, my walk is about half an hour. But what I want to say to you is when people tell you about, oh, you have to show yourself love, you have to do the things you love, you have to put yourself first, maybe that's not happening because you feel like you're making it too big. Maybe you feel like you need to meditate for a whole hour or do an hour and a half of yoga every day to make it worthwhile. But 5 minutes could be all it needs. And I realized this when I was talking to a meditation teacher I know the other week, Louise Reader from the Body Matters in Leigh-on-sea, if you're curious. And Louise was saying that quite often she tells her clients just to get up 5 minutes earlier and have 5 minutes of quiet time. Maybe she'll suggest an app, but that's not necessarily right for everyone. And what's right for one person isn't necessarily right for someone else. But she gets them to start small because depending on where you are, your lifestyle, and so on, you know, different things work for different people. So my tip for you today is if you've been putting off those acts of self-love because it feels too much, like another thing on your to-do list, just try something for 5 or 10 minutes. If you haven't got time to go for a full walk, maybe go and stand in the garden. I like barefoot on the grass if you can, just for 5 minutes, or sit in the garden or on even the front garden wall if you haven't got a back garden with a cup of tea. Maybe it's like I do, I just take a little walk to a point where, yeah, I know I can see something relaxing that feels good and I can be home in, say, 10 minutes. Maybe if you want to move your body, do some yoga. Just do a few simple dynamic stretches, some gentle stretches just to get your body moving in the morning, which might take 5 minutes or less, rather than thinking, oh, if I'm going to do this, I have to do a whole hour yoga. And those simple things, those small things, those few minutes could make a massive difference to the next 24 hours and how you're feeling. So, self-love, the love can be big, you can have full loving intention for yourself, but the actual act of self-love can be small because it's better that you do something than do nothing. So that's it for today. Start small, show yourself some love, and have an awesome day. If you do feel like you need support making more time for creating more love in your life, more love for yourself, then I would love to have a discovery call with you. It's totally free, there's no obligation. We will look at where you are now, how you got there, and where you'd like to be. And If I think I can help you, I'll tell you a bit about how I work, but there's no pressure. It's just some time where I want you to leave feeling positive and with some clarity that there's a way of moving forward. So feel free to get in touch any way you like, and I look forward to hearing from you. Love you.